Well, it's a pretty good looking morning. We're up early and we've waited till today. I just looked at the weather station at Gabo Island. It's blowing northerly 10 knots, so that's what we want, a bit of northerly. We just got Ted ashore here at the moment. I'll go back, get the dinghy up, and we'll get out of Clire Inlet and start heading south to Gabo Island. It looks like it's going to be a good day for it. That's what we've waited for.
Well, we don't wear skimpy bikinis. Hell, it frightens me when I take my shirt off. There's definitely no one pregnant here. This is motor sailing for old dudes. We do live on a boat and we do cruise extensively along the Australian coast. Join us and visit some great destinations. Learn how to look after a boat and live off grid. It might even get you enthused to do the same thing. Hey, stay out there till you can't.
Watch. It's probably a good idea if you're travelling down this coast at night to stay out over the 50 metre sounding, because we've come past a lot of craypots this morning, nearly on the edge of that 50 metre mark, so probably better to stay out in deeper water where they don't shoot them.
What are you doing, Norm?
Got to lash the dinghy on.
Oh.
It's alright now. It's swelly out here, darling. This is Green Cape and the Green Cape Light, and from here we alter course and start heading in a southwesterly direction, and that'll take us down to Gabo Island. We'll see what conditions are like. We plan to stay at Gabo, but we might push on to Point Hicks. I think it'd be alright laying under there in the conditions we're going to experience today. Well, we've just altered course to head down around the corner here. So we're sort of heading for Gabo Island now, and it's got a little bit more comfortable. It's been a little bit sloppy this morning. The swell's been from the southeast, and it's been a little bit uncomfortable getting to here, but we're getting along at 6.2, 6.4 knots. There's still not enough wind to really think about getting the sail out yet. And maybe when we get down a bit further, once we get past this point, we're going to lose the bit of current we've got and probably push a little bit down the bottom. So hopefully we get some wind where we can get the sail out and make up for that loss of speed. Anyway, the old girl's going along pretty well, just doing the job, and we'll get down to Gabo and assess whether we're going to stay there, or the option is to push on to Point Hicks and shelter under Point Hicks, which would be another 30 nautical miles, but if the conditions are all right, we might as well chew them up, and that would leave us with probably about 9 hours to get to Lake's entrance, so it makes tomorrow's trip a lot shorter. Anyway, we'll make that decision when we get down there. Pretty pleasant being out at sea, I must admit. I love it out here. So we've just cracked a bit of sail out. We're just on our way to Gabo. The wind's very light, but it's from the north, and The sail's given us about 0.2 of a knot now, so we're doing 6.6 instead of 6.2. 0.4 of a knot.
Sort of right. What's your maths?
So that's Gabo Island, you can see up in front of us. The conditions are really good. The wind's gone round to the northeast, and we're getting a good lift off it with the sail. It's working really well, so I think we're going to push on a bit and maybe get down to Point Hicks. That'd virtually halve the trip from Eden to Lake's Entrance, so it'll mean we can get that part out of the way. While we're travelling like this, I think we should, and then we've got a shorter trip tomorrow from Point Hicks across the lakes. But it's very pleasant out here at the moment. Okay, so we're at the further southeasterly point of the country. This is Gabo Island, we're just rounding. And we've got to make a decision. We were thinking about staying in behind Gabo to get us out of this weather, but we're travelling along really well. The wind's excellent for what we're doing. So what do you think, Bob?
I think maybe keep going. 4 or 5 hours, you reckon? What do you think?
Pretty comfortable, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think we'll keep using it while we've got it.
Yeah.
Pretty good. So
And what are we doing at 7?
about 7 knots, yeah, 6
Yeah.
knots. We will start to push a bit of current once we get past Gabo. So the current chart showing the current heading us, but the wind's giving us a really good lift, so we're still skipping along 6.5, 7 knots, and I think while we've got this wind, we should just use it. It'll probably die out later this afternoon, but if we get to Point Hicks, we'll have a pleasant night there, fingers crossed, and get on the road again tomorrow to Lakes. And it really does break the trip from Eden to Lake's Entrance in half. Gabo Island Light, it's been there longer than I've been on the planet anyway, and I can remember as a younger bloke it was always good to see the light looming over the horizon when we were navigating across Strait. Back in those days we used hand-bearing compass and a pair of dividers and a pencil, and it was always good to see the Gabo light come up over the horizon. You could then fix your position pretty accurately, and was always a good feeling. Well, the wind's gone round a bit, and we're just going to have to jibe the headsail. We're getting a lot of drive off it, but you can see it's flogging around a bit, so the only way I can jibe it really is to wind it up, hold the course and then unfurl it. Well, you've really got to love travelling like this. The wind is doing so much for us. We're averaging probably 6.8, 6.9, getting up over 7, 7.5 sometimes. We've just jibed the sail because the wind has changed a bit and we were heading a bit towards the land there. But now we're on the 19-mile beach and we've got to follow that all the way down to Lake's Entrance, which is a bit of a gap in it. a first for me, hiding under Point Hicks for the night. Can you see the bottom? Just want sand, that's all. Looks pretty schmicko. First job is to find somewhere to get Ted ashore, and we've got to be careful here because there's a little bit of swell on the beach. There's always a bit of swell in Bass Strait, and there's a bit breaking on the beach at the moment, so we'll just go and have a look and see where we can safely get ashore. Well, this is fantastic. We've got this beach to ourselves. A little bit of swell. Not much, probably half a metre getting onto the beach. We've picked a little corner just inside the rocks here, which breaks it off a bit, and we'll have a really pleasant night here and a good morning, and R&R, and then head off to the lakes. Unfortunately, lots of plastic on the beach, which really spoils it. Pristine beach like this and covered in plastic that'll last there for hundreds of years. A bit of a shame. Well, it's a classic night for a green flash. For those of you that hadn't seen it, the sun has to be setting over the ocean, which it is here. It's got to be a really clear atmosphere, and if we're lucky, as the last orb of the sun dips below the horizon, there'll be a green flash right across the horizon. In 22 years of looking at sunsets, I've only seen it twice, so we'll watch for it tonight. The green flash. Nope. That was a classic sunset, but no green flash. Early start, about 1:30, but the wind's up a little bit out of the north really, so we've just got up anchored. We plotted a course for lakes, and we've got the headsail out, so we're getting a good draw off it. We're doing 5.7 at the moment, and there's not much wind, but we're reaching across it, so it gives us a bit of speed. So 9 hours and 43 minutes, we should be at Lake's entrance, and hopefully a bit better than that if the wind does get up.
Well, so much for the motor sailing. We just folded the sail up. It's just calmed right out. It's dead flat at the moment. So, yeah, beautiful night to be out here doing it, but it would be nice to have the wind we had to make the trip a bit quicker, but oh well. It may come back when the sun comes up. Very pleasant out here. We've got another boat just off to our starboard side, that's Tony, and I think he was sailing when we left too, but it's all gone now, so just under motor at the moment. Okay, it's time to change the watch. We're heading for Cape Conran. You'll see the light flashing out here. Okay. And the Weir Reef is just off it. So our course will take us close to Weir Reef, but we don't want to go any further that way. So if you're going to adjust it at all, come offshore rather than onshore. The guy in front of us, he's about a quarter of a nautical mile away, so just keep an eye on him. If he looks like he's getting closer, wake me up, but you can check it with the radar how far away he is. But I think he's going to come out in front of us too, because he'll have to get around that wind. Well, it's a beautiful morning, but no wind whatsoever. I've got the sail furled up enough so it's not rubbing all over everything on the roof, but there's not enough wind to even fill it. We're travelling with a couple of other yachts, and they're doing the same thing. They're just motor sailing. They've got sails up, but the sails aren't doing anything, and they're under motor. We're about 5 hours out of lakes now. The bar should be really good when we get there, and yeah, it'll be good to get in the lakes and start exploring that area. So it's been a good trip across Bass Strait. A bit more wind this morning would have been good, but it's better. I think there's a strong wind warning out for tomorrow, so we've done it pretty well. Well, we've had this sail in and out about 3 times last night, and now it's just dead glassy, so we're going to wind it up again. This is the last time, I think. It's just flat as out here, crazy. Well, this is the notorious Bass Strait. And for those of you that worry about crossing it, as long as you've got time and wait for the weather, I think I've seen it like this more times than I've seen it when it's very angry.
about to line up on the bar at the lake's end. The conditions today are good, no swell up, and it will make for a pretty easy crossing. We're right at the bottom of the tide at the moment, so it's virtually low tide. So there's still a bit of overrun here out of the lake, so you can see it's making it stand up a little bit. If you waited till the tide was running in another hour or two, it'd probably be a lot flatter. But I think we should be alright in these conditions. A lot of tide runs out of here and we're still pushing, I'd say about 3 knots at the moment, so be aware of that. If you're a very slow boat, you might not make it with the tide running out like this. In the conditions we've got at sea at the moment, this bar would be very flat with the tide coming in. All of this wave action is being stood up by the outgoing tide, so this is what I'm talking about, especially in adverse conditions. You really want to be crossing these bars in the last 2 hours of the run-in. So we're into lake's entrance, still only doing 1.7, 1.8 knots, so there's still a lot of tide ripping out here, and it is supposed to be low tide at the moment, so this is all overrun, just waiting for the water level to get a bit higher outside and start running back into the lake system. We'll get out of this tide in a minute. We're just going to turn to starboard a bit further up, and we're going to head up to what they call the Flagstaff pontoon or Flagstaff jetty, and hopefully we can tie up there and get Teddy ashore.